Hey guys, so I'm going to go ahead and explain to you how to do your sex linked practice problems or X linked practice problems. Just because it's a new format and I want to make sure that you guys get a chance to look at it. So, first thing you are is it's going to pop up and it's going to be week 31-2 A6 sex linked practice problems. And it's set up as an actual presentation because you can just type right into it. And yours is going to be a little bit more filled out than mine, but I'm just going to walk you through how to do this, page 1 and page 2. Of course, if you haven't watched the Ed puzzle, you're going to have a hard time. So, first of all, when this pops up on your screen, particularly if you have a smaller Chromebook, you want what's in your screen, this middle part, to be bigger. So, what we're going to do is you actually want to zoom. I guess you want it out. Like you want to make it smaller. So we're going to zoom out. And when you zoom out, it actually makes the presentation bigger. And so what we're going to do is I just want you guys to practice making some crosses. And what I've tried to do is make it so that you can copy and paste my X's with their superscript alleles like big H or little h. So let's read this first. So hemophilia is a blood disorder in which certain blood clotting factors are not produced. This results in excessive bleeding that can damage organs and tissue. Hemophilia is an X linked recessive trait caused by a single point mutation. So it's X linked, meaning that it is carried on the X chromosome. So that's why we call it X linked, which is what you learned in your Ed puzzle. So you're going to be doing a variety of all the different crosses that you could get with individuals with hemophilia or carriers or completely normal individuals. And so I just want to walk you through how I want you to do this. Okay, so the key for the alleles is big H is normal and little h means hemophilia. So if your X has a big H next to it, it's a normal X. If your X has a little h superscript, it is a diseased allele. So the key, okay, well, I'll talk about the key in a second. So cross one is a healthy female and a healthy male. So normal male, normal female, they don't have a problem. And so I give you the parents already. Okay, so a healthy female, she would be X big H, X big H, and the healthy male will be X big H, Y. That's the key. And there is no hemophilia allele on the Y, so do not put one there. So if we go ahead and fill out the square, we end up with X big H, X big H. That would be a completely normal female. X big HY, completely normal male. X big H, completely normal female. And X big HY, completely normal male, which makes sense. These are two completely healthy people with no hemophilia in their background. So then how are you going to do the ratios? And I really just am asking you to do a percentage. So the key is NF is normal female, CF is carrier female, DF is diseased female, NM is normal male, and then DM is diseased male. Why is there no carrier male? Because males cannot be carriers for an X-linked disease or trait since they don't have two X's. You have to have two X's to be a carrier. All right, so let's fill it out. So normal females, of my females, I have no diseased females, so 100% of my females are going to be normal. Okay. And of my carrier females, again, I have no females that are carriers. So, okay, so 100% of my females are normal. Carriers are 0%. There's no carrier females. Every female has two big H's with their X's, so they don't carry the recessive allele. And diseased female, again, 0%. Now, normal male, well, if I look in there, both of my males have X big HY, so they are 100% normal, and diseased male is 0%. So this was an easy problem. Everybody's healthy. So let's go over to cross 2. In cross 2, this is a very common, if there is an X-linked recessive trait, this is the common way that it's going to be passed on. So here you have a carrier female and a healthy male. So I give you the parents, X big H, X little h is the female because she's a carrier, and X big HY is the male since he's normal. So see, she's a carrier because she's got the hidden recessive allele that she can pass on, but she herself has a normal blood clotting phenotype. So here is where I actually went ahead and have given you guys the ability to copy and paste. So that's what I would do. So there's a couple ways to copy and paste. So you got to be careful too, because you want to copy paste just the letters, not the entire cell or square. So if you look here, big H, okay, so I can go ahead and copy that first one here and I can paste it in. Yay. Okay. And then my next one is big H with a Y. So I can actually copy and then just delete the X big H and put a Y there. All right, so here's where we have a difference. Okay. We have here X big H, X little h. So X big H, so I'm going to go ahead and copy, but then I'm going to change my big H to a little h. And then my male is actually going to be X big H, or X little h, I'm sorry, X little h, oops, X little h and a Y. Make that a capital Y. All right, so let's look at this here. What do I see? Okay, well, so the little h is my X with the diseased allele. So I'm actually going to go ahead and bold that just for your guys's. Okay. And I'm going to bold him altogether because what I want to point out is that, so here's a completely normal female, here's a completely normal male, but in this lower left corner, this is a carrier female, and then this is actually a diseased male because he actually has the hemophilia allele. So normal females, okay, offspring ratio. So of the females, there's different ways to think about this. So their chance of having a normal female out of all of it is 25%. Now their chance of just females being completely normal is 50%, but we're going to say out of all the children, they have a 25% of having a normal female. They have a 25% of having a carrier female, and they have a 0% chance of having a diseased female because none of the females show both alleles, which they have to have both the diseased alleles. Okay, normal male, they have a 25% chance of having a normal male, but they have a 25% chance of having a diseased male. So overall, this pairing has a 25% chance of having a child, a male child with hemophilia. And if they know the child is male before the child's born, it's a 50% chance that that child's going to have hemophilia, since 50% chance of having a boy, and then of those two boys, 50% chance of one of them having it. But it's okay if you do it out of all of the children, out of all four. Okay, so let's go down to our next one, which is where we actually have a diseased female. So she has hemophilia, and a healthy male. So in this case, I haven't even filled out the parents for you because I want you to be able to do it. Now, I have it set up to where the females would go on the side and the males would go along the top, just so that the pink and blue, which is your traditional biological female male, sorry for the gender stereotypes, but just trying to help you guys out. So I'm going to go ahead and keep with that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and copy and paste again. So I'm actually going to go into this little square here. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to paste another one here. Now, how do I know she has X little h, X little h? Well, in the cross up above, I said she was a diseased female, and I even gave you her genotype, X little h, X little h. Now, it's a healthy male, so he is going to be X with a big H. So I want to make sure that I get that in there correctly. So just take your time on these, don't rush. So he's X big H, and of course, since he's male, he's going to have a Y. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and fill in our squares. So we have X big H and X little h. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to copy this one right here because that's the same one. So I'm going to go up to this corner. So in here I should have X big H, X little h, which is this. That's a carrier female. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control C. Now remember, you got to copy just the letters, not the whole square, or it's going to be weird. Right? So there's my X big H, X little h, and again on this female X big H, X little h. So those of you who are good with Punnett squares, this should be relatively easy. Okay, so she's diseased female, so both of her H's or both of her X's have the diseased allele. So for the males, X little hy, they have no chance of escaping without this disease. Okay, so what we have here is this. Now, double check. Look and see. Okay, did I get my parents correct? X little h for the female, X big H, Y for the male. I did. Are my crosses correct? So I have an X big H, X little h for the first female child possibility, and X big H, X little h for the second. I have X little hy and X little hy for both of the boys. Okay, everything checks out. So let's go ahead and do the offspring ratio. So the chance of a diseased female having any offspring who are 100% normal or heterozygous is 0%. It's not going to happen. Okay, so they're not going to have a normal female child. Okay, so she will not have a child that is not a carrier. She can't have a female child that's not a carrier. Her chances of having a carrier female are 50% because there's 2 out of the 4 children. And her chances of having a diseased female, thankfully, are 0%. So then we go over to the male, the boy side. So normal males, there are none. So 0% chance of having a normal male. Diseased male, okay, we have a 100% chance. So if this couple decides to have children and the child is male, it is going to have hemophilia. There's no way for it not to happen. Okay, so that's how you're going to do the first page. I'm going to let you do the next 3 on your own, and I think some of them are filled in for you. I'm going to go ahead and head on over to the next page down to kind of do one with you on that one. Okay, so now these are the practice problems where I don't give you the parent genotypes. You have to figure them out. So, X-linked practice problems. So a female carrier for the recessive sex-linked disease Duchenne's muscular dystrophy marries a normal man. So she's a carrier and he's normal. So let's think about what she would be. As a carrier, she is not going to have the disease, but she is going to have one of her X's that has the allele. Now, he's normal, so his X is normal. So here's the thing. You can use D if you want, or you can continue using H's, whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and switch my H's to D's because I just want to do it that way because I like perfection. But so you can still copy and paste, but in this case, let's go ahead and I'm going to use the letter D instead for Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. So she's a carrier. So she's going to be X, and then she's going to have a big D for 1. Okay. And you can go ahead and copy and paste if you want from the other page, and then you can very easily go ahead and change that H to a D, capital D if you want. The other way to do it is, and we made this super duper small, but if you go to insert, oh, I'm sorry, not insert, but format. If you go to format, text, you can do a superscript right there. So format text, it allows you to do a superscript, but it's kind of annoying because then you have to click it on and then click it back off again. So I suggest the copy and paste. And then she's a carrier, so she's 1x big D, and then she's going to have x little d. So make sure you get those correct. And then he is a completely normal male, so he has 1x big D, and then he has a y because he's male. Don't forget that. Males have a y. All right. So then it just becomes a matter of filling in the square. And of course, you can copy and paste again. So what I'm going to do though is I'm just going to go ahead and take, okay. So x big D, x big D. Okay, so there we have 1. Okay. And then the next one is going to be x big D. And then we're going to have a y. Next one is going to be x little d. I got to change that big D to a little d. So tiny. And then a y. Okay. And I'm actually going to make these a little bit bigger. I'll try to do that before I even hand it out to you guys. I'll make them big enough font that you can see them pretty well. Okay, so x little d. Oh my goodness, you guys, I made a mistake. That shouldn't be a man at all. That should not be male. That should be female. So I'm actually going to put that over here. Oops. Okay, sorry guys. See how like I made that? So then actually, she, this other female, is going to be x big D, and then x little d. And you have to apologize for all my little formatting. Okay, voila. Whew. So the hardest part is all the copy and pasting. Let's double check. Is she a carrier, the parent? Yes, the parent, the female parent is a carrier. Is the male parent normal? Yes, he is. Do all my squares work? Yes, they do. All right. So let's answer the questions. What's the percent chance of them having any child with the disease? Well, if I look there, no, 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 yes. So they have only a 25% chance, and that is a boy. Okay. Okay, what about the chance of having a daughter with the disease? Well, 0%. There are no daughters with the disease. There's one who's normal and one who's a carrier. And a son with the disease, again, they have a 25% chance. All right, so that is how you would do those. So then you have this one with male pattern baldness, which isn't really a disease. And then number 3 is telling you that you actually have a girl with sex-linked hemophilia. And there are 2 possible genotypes for the mother, but only one for the father. So as to how that could have happened. So I want you to give me the different possibilities of the parents and show me in the Punnett square how you can get a girl with sex-linked hemophilia. And then number 4 says, in order for a son to end up with a recessive sex-linked disorder, who has to have the diseased allele? So that's it, you guys. Hopefully it works okay. Sorry about all the copying and pasting, and I hope this helps you. Holy moly, this is 18 minutes long. Whoa.